Okay, finally after the third back-to-back roast of small samples, I did hook up the laptop and I got my Canon back and cooled down. So we're going to go ahead and get this roast started. Oops. Okay, I'm going to cut my gas. I'm going to restart my timer, and I'm going to put the coffee in there. I've got a half a pound of that same Indian, in case you didn't watch the last video, Indian Monsoon Malabar, I think it's called. So I'm putting the whole 8 ounces in there, and as you may have noticed, that coffee already has a yellowish look, like it's almost at the end of drying phase, even though it's not. So we're going to go ahead and reset the timer. We're going to go ahead and charge the beans. Hopefully I did start the software, so that's good. That'll give us a little bit better idea since I don't keep good track of things when I'm doing video. So I'm going to let it soak for about 45 seconds. When I say soak, in case you're not familiar with that term, letting the beans roll around in the drum without the burners on. Some people do it with the burners low, but with the 8-ounce sample, you don't keep the burners low. For maybe a half a minute, 45 seconds, some people go longer. I'm going to go ahead and kick on my gas now, and because I was preheating, I had it kind of high. On the last roast, I think I was a little low on the gas pressure, so I'm going up to about 9/10 of the kPa, and we'll see how it goes. As you can see, the temperature's not dropping anywhere near as low. In fact, we're probably real close to the turnaround. Just in a turnaround, according to Artisan, that turnaround took place at 296.8 degrees at 1 minute and 9 seconds. So because its turnaround is at such a high temperature, if I was doing a full roast, I would be really careful about where my gas pressure is. Keep in mind, as we talked about in the last video, the probe is not actually in the beans. 8 ounces, you just can't get that low. If you lower to the lowest setting in the drum door. So probably we're looking at 20-25 degrees difference on what the real bean temperature is versus what the probe is saying or what the overall is saying. With that said, we're only 2 minutes and close to 20 seconds into the roast, and the rate of rise seems fairly high. Now, because my gas pressure is low at this point, I can either cut back the gas if I think it's too hot, going too fast, which it is starting to lightly brown, or I can try bumping up my airflow somewhat significantly, watching an eye on this and this. If the BT continues to rise dramatically, and so does the ET, then pulling that extra air in isn't actually slowing the roast. In fact, at this point, it might be speeding up the roast. So I'm going to bump that down to 2. I'm going to go ahead and bump down my gas pressure. I'm going to go ahead and go with half a kPa and see how this works. If I see that it's slowing down the rate of rise significantly, then I will bump it up because then I will have overcompensated. One thing that will help me is looking at my Artisan and looking at the predictive feature, which right now, and keep in mind we're about 20-25 degrees off on what that is. So it's probably more like 340. So adding that extra 25 degrees, I'm probably, I'm well into the browning or mallard phase, but it is slowing it down to where I probably won't go into first crack until maybe, at this point, maybe 5 or 6 minutes into the roast, which is actually a little faster than I want to go. But looking at the beans over here, which is a true judge of character rather than a probe at this point, it's still a ways off. So I don't think we have to worry too much about going in the first crack for a little while yet. Maybe when it hits about 405 degrees, 410 degrees on the actual breeding. And that, I'm guessing, at the rate of rise we've got right now, will probably be in the maybe 6-minute mark. Just to play around, you can see right now with the way everything's set up, the hot air or environmental temperature of the drum is basically staying steady. So if I felt the rate of rise was too fast, I could bump up this airflow. But you never want the bean temperature to start dropping, because that would indicate that you're baking the beans. This can get in a stale taste. Yeah, so we're doing okay. We slowed it down significantly by going from 9/10 to about half or 6/10. So bumping up the airflow. This airflow is still pretty low. It's at 3. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 4 just to see what happens. It feels like the momentum of the roast is going pretty well, so it's not slowing down the rate of rise. Even at 4, it's actually picking it up. Even though we're only at 6/10 of the KPA, I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 5 and see what we got. It's actually still increasing the rate of rise. And I heard a couple, yeah, we're actually going in the first crack. So maybe my turning the airflow up too soon increased that, yeah. Now that I've cut it down, see how it slowed that down dramatically? It even slowed down the BT. So that's good, because I don't want to have a 7-minute roast. I want to at least have a 8.5, 9-minute roast. Yeah, so that slowed it down. Turned up the airflow too fast. Sped up the roast too much. Got the momentum going. But if you can hear, we're just now going into a, if you want to call it a rapid first crack, keeping in mind it's a ½ pound of coffee, so it's not going to be like 5 pounds. But let's bring the camera a little closer. Okay, I don't know how good the lighting and all that's going to be, but we're at 7 minutes 40 seconds. The hot air temperature is at 424. This says the BT's at 430, but looking at the beans, it's probably more like 410. At this point, I'm going to actually increase my airflow to 5, but I'm not going to change my gas pressure, which is at about between 5 and 6/10 of a kPa. Keeping in mind this is a propane roaster, so natural gas will be much lower. Yeah, so here we are, 8 minutes, 20 seconds, increasing that airflow. The rate of rise is still growing, but we're only at 426 on the hot air, and we're at about 437, which is probably more like 417 on the BT. Yeah, we're in a very light roast still. It smells good. So I'm going to take this up to about a 9-minute roast. Yeah, it sounds like we're actually going into a second crack, and you hear the rapid. So I'm actually going to kick off my gas. It's 9 minutes, 2 seconds. It says 440, but I don't think so. It may have been closer to 430, I don't know. We'll take a closer look at the bean. I can't seem to get the lighting right. If I take the light off, you get a better idea. It's still, it's maybe a full city. It's not a dark roast, it's not a full city plus, but
It's a nice even roast, and I wish I could get the camera to see what I'm seeing with my eye, but unfortunately I can't with this light. Maybe if I open the door and put the natural light in, that's probably better than the, well. Anyway, you can clearly do 8 ounces back to back in the BC5. I hope this video, this series of videos helped you. If you have questions, email randy@buckeyecoffee.com. Have a terrific day.